guys, Prowl 1701 here. Today I'm going to be reviewing the novelization of Mission to Magnus, which of course is about the 6th Doctor and Perry, and this is part of the Lost Season 23. This was, I believe, the story that was supposed to be the finale for the original Season 23, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I believe it was supposed to be the season finale. And I believe Philip Martins, who wrote the original script for it too, so it's being adapted by the original writer, if I'm correct on that. I don't know how much changed between his original script and when he novelized it. I liked it. It was fine. It's not like super memorable, but it was a good read. I had smooth forgotten the Ice Warriors were in this. I don't know how. And I knew ahead of time they're in Mission to Magnus because I know it was supposed to be their big return, just like Nightmare Fair was supposed to be Toymaker's big return. But somehow, being blind apparently, it didn't occur to me as I started reading that the Ice Warriors were in this. So when they show up, because they don't actually show up until a good ways into the story actually. When they actually do show up, I'm like, oh yeah, the Ice Warriors in this. Like, I wasn't sitting there reading, waiting for them to show up. It had totally slipped my mind. I don't know how. I don't know how. It's right there on the cover. But when they did show up, I was like, oh yeah, the Ice Warriors are in this. Okay, what direction is this going to take? Because they don't actually show up for a while. You basically have these two planets that are at war, and one is a planet of men, and one is a planet of women, and they can't stand each other. That's not the only time I've ever seen this. There's actually an anime series called Van Dread, which does that too, where it's a planet of men fighting a planet of women, which is done to very comedic effect. Very good anime. And so that's kind of what they do here. The women in it are the very, no, men are bad, men cause wars, we are better, very Amazonian-like. The leader is like a cross between trying to be a good leader and do things to help her people, and also, hey, I can get some unlimited power here. So it's like a cross between someone wanting to be a good leader and Emperor Palpatine, which is interesting and a bit nuanced. The female characters on the planet, I like them. I can never decide if they feel like fully fleshed out characters or not. Some of them do, while still sometimes I get people mixed up. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The 6th Doctor is pretty good in this, except at the beginning. He basically runs into another Time Lord who used to bully him in school, and he transforms into the coward Twin Dilemma 6th Doctor. Like the way the 6th Doctor was when he was really cowardly in the Twin Dilemma. He turns into that basically, where he's, oh no, we don't want to take him off. Don't insult him, Perry. And Perry's like because they're talking to him like on a viewer, and you know Perry's just like, why should I be scared of you? And the 6th Doctor's like, she said it wasn't me. And I'm sitting there going, this is the beginning of the story. I was like, ooh, this one could be tough. Luckily, after that, it gets better, and the 6th Doctor does feel more like the 6th Doctor. Not quite as arrogant and in your face as the 6th Doctor in the TV era, but not as toned down as the Big Finish era 6th Doctor, kind of somewhere in the middle, which works well. Perry very much feels like Perry, and Syl really feels like Syl. I can't remember if Philip wrote Vengeance on Varos or not, so I'm not sure if he's the one who originated Syl, excuse me. I can't remember if he originated Syl or not. But Syl is written well here. He feels like Syl, just basically businessman, capitalist, who is trying to play all of the sides. So he figures playing all of the sides, one way or another, he'll end up on the winning side, and he's all about business, profit, all of that. And he just feels, excuse me, he just feels like Syl. I mean, he feels like Syl. I definitely got to give the writing that. Even when the way they describe his laugh, when he's laughing in the novel, I can hear the laugh, because Syl has such a cool laugh. Syl's such a cool character, he really is. Even though I'm not a big fan of Mind Warp, Syl is a good part of that episode still. And he feels like Syl here. So big hats off to having Syl back. It's nice to read another adventure about him. The other guest cast, there's like this one kind of young boy who's kind of helping him out. He's fine. The story itself is fine. It's not very memorable. This is one of those stories, like, as I was reading it, I thought it was pretty good. Not like really good, but pretty good. I was enjoying it. But after I read it, when I was thinking back on it, especially when I was like mentally preparing for this review, it was just okay goodish. I'm sure some of y'all have had that, whether like when you're watching a show, when you're reading a book, when you're playing a game. It's like while you're doing it, it's good, but afterwards it's kind of just meh. That's kind of my main thought of it. I like the story. The Ice Warriors are basically trying to change the orbit of the planet to make it more habitable for them, even if it lays it waste to everybody else, which would just make it easier for the Ice Warriors to take over. And the Doctor, of course, has to stop it. The other Time Lord in it doesn't really play a huge part. I figured he would be in it more. He's in it a little bit at the beginning, and then he basically gets taken out of the scenario, which is kind of his just desserts. He doesn't get killed or anything, but it's still kind of just desserts what happens to him. And then he's just kind of gone. We never see him again, and boom, he's done for the story. And I think that all happens before the Ice Warriors even show up, because they don't show up until a good ways into this, which is why, like I said, when I finally mentioned them, I was like, oh yeah, Ice Warriors. I really don't have a lot to say. It was more exciting when I was reading it than it is now that I've finished reading it. Was it a good read? Yes. Would I recommend it to read? Sure. It's always nice to be able to experience some of the Lost Season 23. And I believe this one's also been done by Big Finish, so I think it's on audio. I don't know how much different it is to the novelization. But I believe it is on audio if you'd prefer to listen to it. But yeah, it was a fun little read, even if it's not anything to really write home about. I think I prefer Nightmare Fair over it, but Nightmare Fair, to be honest, was kind of the same way. It was more interesting as I was reading it than it was when I got through reading it. And I guess I had to check out some more of the Missing Season 23 and see what I think of it. So yeah, those are really all I have to say about Mission to Magnus. The characters feel like the characters. It's a pretty good story. And gets the job done. So Mission to Magnus, have you read it? Have you listened to it? What do you think of it? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. There's a link to that down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I have a P.O. box down there if there's anything you would like to send me. I do believe this was actually sent to me by one of my subscribers, probably the Flyattractor. The Flyattractor tends to send me a lot of the older books, and this has a copyright of 1990 on it. You can tell by it, the print, how it looks. It's an older novelization, so more than likely the Flyattractor sent this one, so I want to give a shout out to him as well. And the P.O. box is down there. Links to the Amazon wish list are down there, and YouTube memberships are also available. Most importantly, thank you for watching.